hallo, hallo. Svenja, alles gut. Wetter ist. Muss es ja nehmen, wie es kommt. Ne? Lisa, hallo. Jaden, hallo. Ghost. Uh-oh. Something's disconnecting and connect. Oh, it's hang on, it's my loop deck. Why is my loop deck doing this weird thing? Okay. But Svenja, good to hear that you are enjoying sun. Fantastic. Ghost. Hello, nice. Nate. Moin. And crap landing Dave. Dave, how are you doing? Long time no see. How are you doing? Alex, hello. And Fabian, hello. Service. Fabian, I did get your message on Discord. Sorry, I didn't have time to reply just yet. It'll be more like towards the end of the month, because I'm going to be on holiday next week. So more the end of the month. Oh yeah, please send some sun. Yeah, Sonia, definitely needed. I mean, same here in Luton, right? In Luton it's also raining. How can that happen? I thought it never rains in England. Right, now just need to check one more thing here. And then we're good to go. Right, today. 2 flights today. So we're flying Luton to Basel. And the reason being, we'll have a look in a minute.
Welcome aboard the
hey, that voice.
Subscriber experience.
In the EFB and the flight plan.
Way to the first class cabin, where complimentary drinks, snacks, and premium flight entertainment will be served. Thank you.
Alex, dankeschön.
Good evening, Captain.
Good evening.
I hope you're doing absolutely great, BB711 beloved.
I am doing very well. Thank you so much, Alex. And thank you so much for the 39. I hope you're doing well too, Alex. What are you up to? Mark, hello, hello. Right, Mark, look at this. You know this place better than I do, of course, because not long ago, you actually departed from here, right? So, we've been here, was it like in P3D days that we've been here? Because normally...
Welcome aboard the Captain.
You know, who would go to Luton, right? Because normally we'd go from East Midlands, of course.
Subscribers, please make your way to the first class cabin, where complimentary drinks,
oh, really? That was it? Huh?
Premium flight
the hotel
will be served.
in the back.
Thank you.
Hotel.
BB711 beloved.
Hey, Lilienthal. Oh my God, 112 months. Lilienthal, vielen Dank. The journey continues. 112 months. If that means, you know what? That means it's already 1 year past the that 100 month. Unbelievable. Time just flies way too fast. Oh, that is a hotel? Hang on. That's not a hotel. Well, you slept in the hangar. Yeah, it's the latest from Indie Builds, yeah. Oh, to the right. Hang on, sorry. To the right. Oh, this one here. Oh, this is the small with the red flags, the orange flags. Why is my loop deck disconnecting all the time? Hang on. Just to check something on the loop deck. So one of the little control panels here. What's happening? Right. 30 degrees. Hang on. 30 degrees. Oh, this thing here? Hang on. We're gonna find out, guys. We're gonna find out. I've got to see what he means. That's a parking lot. Oh boy. Which right? I mean, like, this thing here, this small little... Is that a hotel? I mean, it's a small place. What's this then? Academy. Oh, that's EasyJet Academy. Desperately looking for signature. Right. Go back original views. Okay, here we are. So original views. And then? So let's start this. Is this the original view? Stop. This is the original view, right? Alright, so from here, 30 degrees right. That's the hangar. That thing there. Yeah, you said orange. Well, I just read orange all the time. This is not orange. That's brown. Oh. Oh, the right of orange. Okay, then I guess I missed the right. Well, there we go. Look, Holiday Express. Holiday Express, nice. So let me guess, Mark. Mark, let me guess. So you had one of the rooms here, right? Oh. I need to check one of my USB ports in a minute, guys. Yeah, you must have had kind of this view, right? Yeah, okay. No. What went wrong? You had this side? What happened? Valpia, hello. And oh, that's where the biz jets are. Ah, I see. Ah, okay. All right, we'll take that. We'll take that. Cool. All right, guys. Sorry for the slight delay here. So, right, I'm gonna have a look here at the briefing package. Oh, we've got to log on first of all. Connect. VATSIM. EZ82 Lima is a call sign today, and we are an A320 Prestige. Yeah, so again, we're doing 2 flights today, guys. So the first one here from Luton to Basel. The reason being is that Basel, as I've been told, has the main runway closed. And so apparently there was a video online where they showed the landing on the shorter runway in Basel. Apparently they braked very hard. Hey, forward, gute wie geht's dir? And Lilo, hello. Oh, Lilo, that reminds me. Hang on. I need to get Atmos running to see if that really is better for today. Always happy to get some feedback and improvements. So let's well, it is pretty hazy as it is. Probably not going to see. And we're using AB. There we go. So we're using AB for Atmos. Hey, Fischkopf, gute. Alrighty, so we are in business. Oh, and then one last thing. Forward, no, it wasn't forward. It was MAN said something regarding GSX not working, and he said you can deactivate the hotfix stuff. Now, I looked at GSS settings and I could not find anything about the hotfix stuff. I could not find anything. Oh, here, I now found it. Thanks. Yeah, okay. So he said disable hotfix, and then apparently it works. So we'll have a look in a minute. Yeah, Dash, exactly. So we're flying the FENIX A320 and later on the FlyJSim Dash Q400. We have not flown it for a while, so since X-Plane has become much, much better. And I've got something to say about X-Plane in a minute as well. Another very interesting experience I had in comparison between the 777 from Flight Factor and the PNG 777. Kind of weird stuff on Microsoft Flight Sim. Good, so Luton. Aircraft should ensure turns on the runway are conducted at a low constant speed and the minimal thrust to avoid the inboard main landing gear wheel becoming stationary. Interesting note. Yeah, Nate, that's the thing. And actually, I think it's a really nice add-on, especially for certain, certain operations. I was thinking, first of all, to go to Norway today. But, I mean, yeah, Dash 8, Widerøe, Norway operations, definitely. Hey, Voyager, moin. Oh no, you got a 6-hour exam tomorrow, Ghost. Okay, I wish you... Hang on, tomorrow's Sunday. You got an exam on Sunday? Blimey. But I wish you all the best, Ghost. I wonder why Mark is disagreeing with that. Yeah. Is it really that wasteful? Is the Dash 8 such a fuel guzzler? Interesting. Good. Right. So first of all, if you look at the NOTAM in Basel, it doesn't really look that terrible initially, but at some point you start getting the feel something's different, because at some point it starts talking about airdrome circuits prohibited due to runway 1533 work in progress. And then it says, huh? Hang on. Oh, that's the 2200 until 03. Okay, so do nighttime operations as well. 0725 closed. RMP 33 suspended. ILS 33 US Zulu 1533 all suspended. ILS not available. Then he had Star. Yeah, that's changed. I think that's already in the database. Alternate Ensheim. Where on earth is Ensheim? Simbrief. I've never heard of that one before. Right. Okay. Quick overview regarding the arrival. So if anybody is Strasbourg. Okay. Well, I've heard of Strasbourg, yeah. 1.7 times more than ATR? Really? Wow. Okay. Interesting. Weird, I mean. So if anybody's flying along, if you type ! route, you will see the routing that I'm flying, and I'll show you what I'm planning regarding taxiing later. Right, orange means EasyJet operations, right? That's what we are allowed to taxi with an orange aircraft, I think. That's what that means. Yeah, you can see this. So this is a nice long runway. And I've been to Basel. I've actually flown there, IRL, on the 737. We did some, not cargo. We actually did night post operations there. Claudia, guten Abend. Yeah, so, 4,000 meter runway almost. Although it has a displaced threshold for runway 33. But look at this one. This looks like just a little GA landing runway, right? But I mean, it does have 1860 paved. However, for runway 25, you can see it's a displaced threshold, meaning that runway 25 landing distance available will be even less. So we have runway 25. 1,700 meters. This is a bit. I always find this a bit confusing. From runway head, like this kind of. For me, it implies more the complete runway, right? But it's not. So this is from the displaced threshold 1715. So that's what we're dealing with today, and we can have a look at the landing distance in a minute before we depart, which we should do anyways, which is a legal requirement in real operations. Ooh, it's getting dark. It's the world ending in the UK today. What's happening here, guys? Blimey. Whew, that's a lot of rain. 777. Yeah, right. Yeah, British cap, okay. The Avenger. Manas, hello. Right. Wait. All right, cool. Good. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. I was just about to explain what approach I'm planning for. So there's an arrival routing which we are planning with. That's the ARPUS arrival, 9 kilo, which takes us to Altic initial approach fix. From there, we will fly the VOR. The VOR, I think it was Yankee, wasn't it? Yeah, we'll fly the VOR Yankee standard approach, meaning it's going to have a 12 dB arc that we fly onto the final. Now you're going to say, how on earth are you going to fly from here and land on runway 25? Well, that's the challenge today. Hurricane family, you're used to Lido. You got the wrong, we got it wrong for LDA. You did take a, let me see, what did I get wrong? Hold on. Yeah, we'll check in a minute with the landing distance.
Shamrock 381's on the Compton 3 Golf 2.8. We're going to climb unrestricted now, flight level 340.
Good for you, but let me just dial that down. Uh-oh. Right. Yeah, challenge, exactly. That's a challenge, right? So there is a visual circling. It has visual part A and B. And so you can see, depending on the aircraft category, we're going to have category Charlie today, obviously, with our airspeed. It tells you exactly what radial to fly outbound or course to fly outbound, the distance, and then tells you to turn downwind, and then you have a base turn to final. So it's a visual circling procedure. We'll check the weather in a minute. Right, and then we got the visual part B is the missed approach part as well, taking us back to Altic. So that's the idea. Right, somebody's saying now regarding, I got something wrong regarding the landing distance. Let me check again, make sure that we got the right landing distance available. Let me have a look. Right, let me do this. Okay, yeah, takeoff run. You are correct. I stand corrected. Yeah, I was looking at takeoff run. Disregard. So again, the whole physical length, sort of paved part, is 1860. For takeoff, it seems to somewhere cut off a little bit of distance as well. So the takeoff distance is 1715. I can't really see it from the chart here, but you're right. The landing distance is 1600. Thank you much for that. Who was it? Hyrock and family, thank you so much for the correction there. 1600 meters, it is for landing. Absolutely correct. Weather is unstable in Hamburg. Yeah, here in Bremen as well. Hey, Fat by Fat, hello. We've had bad weather in the UK. On Thursday we had hail. Okay, yeah. We normally would say it's a kind of April weather, right? But good. Luton, 2,162 meters. Physical length, takeoff length available. 2162 full length here, but that would be from the turn pad. So obviously we would like to try depart out of Alpha so we don't have to backtrack, and then we would have 1982 meters for takeoff. There we go. Yeah, and then we fly the what departure are we flying? We're flying the hold on, we are flying the Rodney 1 Bravo departure. Rodney 1 Bravo. Yeah. It's a conventional SID as well. Interesting that a lot of departures in the UK are still conventional. And not RMP, RNAV. Good. Yeah, that's the idea. Good, let's power up the aircraft, shall we? Otherwise, I guess the first officer has to do the ARTSAT check today, I'm afraid. Sorry for that. So, And Greg, good evening. Greetings to Rockaway Beach, New York City. Nice. Right. We have radar off, engine masters off, ignition is off, thrust levers idle, flaps, slats retracted, wipers off. Let's go. Fairhat, hello to you. So the reason I'm using a Vlad, that's a good question. The reason is that at least the last time that I was using the Lido charts here, so the Microsoft charts here in the FENIX, I had crashed the desktops, and I was not the only one. So people telling me not to use Lido charts for now. But I've worked with Lido charts all of my life, so absolutely would I prefer Lido, yeah, 100%. Warning computer started up. Let's do the test here. Right, Fahad, you were asking when descending or landing, should the speed be set to manage or selected? Well, so usually we would fly managed speeds because, you know, assuming you've entered everything correct in the MCDU, like the aircraft weight, the center of gravity, the wind data, etc. If that's all correctly entered, then you would have the most efficient descent speed when flying in managed mode. So that would be the preferred way of flying the descent. Voyager, I've not heard any news now. So when would you use the selected? Really, anytime ATC tells you to fly a certain speed, or if the managed speed is very close to maximum speed, especially at higher altitude, on the initial descent, maybe I may start, with the selected speed at first, but then once I have a bit of buffer, I would go with managed descent. Hey, Starminer. Gute. Really? Okay, so, well, I guess that's why they're doing the renovation works, right? I mean, just check something here. This one here, let's save that position. Fantastic. Good. Then I am pretty happy as it is. All right, let's go here. Go to ATSU. AOC menu, flight init, init data request. Right, guys, I've got to quickly check if I can get a different USB port for my loop deck controller. Any requests? I'll be back in a few seconds. Let's see if that helps. So I checked a completely new USB port. Good. Keep your fingers crossed. Fish cup, yes, sorry. I know like 20 people check their own USB ports at home right now. I know, right? Oh, silly. So easy H2 Lima goes in there. Cost index. Let's check that cost index. Cost index is 56. Are any of you going to the FS weekend? No, what's it called in the US? FS FlightSim or something? FlightSim show. You know what I mean. Anyone going? Expo, FlightSim Expo, that's the one. So 350 minus 55. Minus 55. Temperature on the ground is 11. Oh, it's almost summertime in the UK then.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard the Captain Blackhawk's Infotainment Experience. New subscribers should now pick up their pass to first class. Thank you.
My right monitor is got black screen.
Evening.
Good evening. Who's saying good evening? Joey, hello, 10 months. Thanks so much for the 10. Joey, welcome. Right, guess we have to do without it for now. So 350, 58.2 is that, and the block fuel is supposed to be 6.7 around 6.7. Let's put 6.7 in here, and then let me have a look if GSX works. Now, a lot of people are reporting issues with GSX, with other stuff here as well. So let's have a quick look here. Mass and balance, load aircraft. Now, let's just do boarding only, or fuel instantly. So fuel is in 6.7. Right, let's see if the rest works. Good. Alternate fuel for Strasbourg. Strasbourg alternate. Oh, there's some stairs. It's 1.3. So 1.3. Alternate fuel. Then let's do the wind requests. Fabian, sorry for that. I was talking about it that one of my USB ports was messing about. Right, wind data uplink is completed as well. Fantastic. So we're departing. We said runway 25 via the Rodney 1 Bravo. Then we've got the flight planned route all the way down. And then for Basel, we did say arrival. Now, okay, so we're going to do the following. We're going to do two things. The first is going to be the Zulu. Where's my VOR? 33. Interesting. Didn't we have like two different VOR approaches?
Passengers boarding started.
Oh, hello. Well, here it does work. Look. Interesting. Yeah, it's. Oh, they even put up some guiding ropes there. Nice. Works. Okay. Cool. Good. So VOR alpha. Let's check again. Because Yes, because I have the Yankee approach. Now, what we can do though is let's just put in view our alpha. We've got the arrival RPUC and then via Altic. And then we can simply check that. So what we do, we check that via plan mode. And then we'll have a look. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's that is a bit weird. Let's just check something out. So inbound calls. Yeah, that's not the correct runway. Let me try again. Arrival. Let's try the 153 this route. Yeah, I think I had a 3315. I was so tuned on 33 because I was talking about 33 all the time. So it's the it's going to be the Yankee. We find the Yankee 15. Here it is. No, hang on. Nice. There it is. So here's the Yankee 15. That's the one I wanted to have, and then approach via. Approach via. The arc. So yeah, that's why I'm choosing no via. Let's check the arc here. There we go. Although, I mean, sometimes I don't understand the old kind of setup here in the MCDU. There we go. So you have to choose the LT1 transition. So the LT1 transition gives you then the arc. So it's more like trial and error. Hey Yoda, wie geht's?
Your best, your time over, charging point 27 right.
Good. Okay, so that means we have the routing now inserted. Everything prepared for that circling approach.
What time are you going to pass
but
charging point 27 right?
for the secondary, what may be a good idea is, so we copy the active. We're not going to do it now because for now we want to do the engine up procedure or the return again to Luton. But later in flight, what we'll do is we are going to program runway 25 in here on the secondary, so that once we do the break off for the visual circling, we'll activate the secondary flight plan so that we do have the landing runway 25 in the FMS. Oh, you mean for landing? Sorry, Ferhat. For landing, yes. For landing, I know what you mean, especially when you have very strong headwind, like 30 knots headwind. Now, normally, what happens is that as you descend, the managed approach speed should slowly come down. So I know at the beginning it may be a little bit weird, and I think I wouldn't say it's advisable to use selected speed and a lower speed, because the ground speed mini function is a good thing on the Airbus, because it really just keeps a constant energy state with relation to the ground. So when you have a positive wind gust, usually your airspeed will increase. The indicated airspeed increases very quickly, but at the same time with the ground speed mini, your target speed will also increase, meaning you don't have to adjust the thrust, or if you have auto thrust active, the auto thrust won't increase and decrease thrust so drastically. So it actually saves a bit of fuel that way as well. And like I said, normally as you get down to lower altitude and the wind reduces, then the approach speeds also come down. So, and you just be aware that your speed above the ground is managed at a constant rate anyway. So, you know, that way it's not dangerous in any form. Good. Let's quickly do a return ILS-25, no star, no via. And we'll do one fix info. I don't think I have any. Do I have airport info here for Luton? Would be very surprised if I did. Oh, I do. Nice. Nice.
31 Alpha, we are 180 knots. You keep the temperature from the
And also for bar. Ah, look at that. I even have that here. 600 meters, correctly said. Sometimes I surprise myself the things I have. Interesting. Right, so for the engine out, although it says 2.6 here, so that's something I need to change. Maybe we can change that in flight. So it's going to be 2.5 now. So Echo Golf Golf Whiskey 2.5. Radial about 254 degrees. And we will fly at 25 miles to hold. Nice. And last thing to do, aircraft loaded, is to get the performance for takeoff. Oh yeah, by the way, let's quickly let's do the following. Let's just quickly calculate a landing distance. So if we take the trip fuel 3.2, let's say 3.2, takeoff weight is that, so it's going to be about 61.3, 61.5 ish. Yeah, let's take 61.5 then for landing. 61.5. Whoa. Hang on. Hang on, do we still have failures active or something? Alright, so only in this configuration, max manual braking, manual landing, auto thrust off, would be able to do an LDR. Now, if those were real values, you would have to have a special permission from operations from the company to do that. Now, I would imagine that this would be A, captain's landing only, and B, most likely as well instructor pilots only, because of those little margins. All right. Now, let's just be aware, if we land perfectly on a 1,000 foot marker, so 300 meters down the runway, meaning the remaining for us would be 1,300 meters. Max manual braking with max reverse, you would probably come to a stop like 400 meters before, you know, between 300 and 400 meters before the end of the runway. So, no, hang on. I think Luton was better. So Luton 2.5 is 2,080 meters landing distance available. So that's definitely okay for return. But yeah, that's why we said you know, short runway ops today. So again, there's going to be some special criteria really that we have to meet in order to land there. And this is really, yeah, the runway overrun protection system. Yeah, it probably would have to be deactivated for that landing, because this is So to put it better in perspective, there's a reason why we airline pilots on a normal landing, we have what's called a factored landing distance, right? It just adds another 15% on top of the required landing distance, which already has buffers included. But that's like a 15% extra buffer. So that is really a comfortable landing distance when you get that result, okay? So there, even if you flare a little bit, you don't hit the 1,000-foot mark exactly, you know, there's still buffers in there, okay? But, yeah, but here now, with max manual braking, even max reverse included, the legal minimum 1,500 meters, right? That's the only value that will be legal to land there. And even this for normal airline pilots would bust the 1,600 meters that we have available. So this would actually only be available for airline pilots, normal airline pilots, if you have an emergency. Right? That's when we could use that value. Hello. How come you tried from? No, hang on. I'm in my 10th year of streaming and flight simming. I've only retired last year. So the question is more like, yeah, why did you retire? Well, I retired because, you know, I'm at an age where I think it's not a bad idea to retire. So everyone has their own personal preferences in life. I I was more motivated to accept less income and live off a pension than having, you know, a much higher income but less time available, less free time available. So it's a personal decision that I made, and I'm not regretting it. It's been 3/4 of a year now. I'm not regretting it, so all good. Hang on. Oh, hang on. So the thing is this, I've got proof now, guys, right? I've got proof. You guys always give me heat for my landings, but now where's my landing rate? Hang on. FX touchdown, where's my... FX touchdown. What's happening here? FX top? No, FX touchdown. Hang on, I need to find proof for my own conscience here. Hang on, desktop. Right, FX touchdown. Where is it? Where is it? Touchdown FX. That's right. All right. Here we go. Look, how many landings have we made? We've made. Let's see. All right. So we've made a number of landings that we recorded, and yeah, okay, that was one. That's more than 300, but the rest, I think I'm doing all right. Right, you see. So, you know, don't give me heat, all right, for that. No, the proof didn't disappear. It just took me a while to find it. Okay, then I've got one more thing to do, guys, before we depart. I need to see if I can get my other monitor working again. That's just so annoying. Not working. Why is that? Like, I honestly don't understand how when you are unplugging and replugging your an USB port, that it kills one of the monitors. Doesn't make sense. It's not receiving a signal from the from the graphics card. Oh well, okay. I guess I've got to live with that for now until I restart my PC later on. Good. Performance. Takeoff performance, we did say. Alright, takeoff performance it is. Oh, has anybody got... Hey Lee, has anybody got any advice on how to get a monitor registered again by Windows? Take 12 degrees and 1006 for calculations. Tower stands around 80s. Okay, so there's no service above us. We'll take runway wet. It is having some rain showers. We'll sync the final load sheet. Sync the... There we go, and let's calculate. Oh wait, we did say alpha, didn't we? So let's do a add custom. So if we take intersection alpha, so that we don't have to do backtrack. So we go outbound alpha.
Alpha 3,600 feet.
So the full length is 2162 and alpha gives us 1982. So here I don't think we have to work it out, we'll just go 1982. Save, and then we go and work it out, and that's our results that we have now. Flap 3 departure. Flex 59. What would happen if we do config 2 departure? Yeah, that's also fine. 56, still good. Take that. Yeah, but take a flap 2 departure. Send to MCD. I bought an inline switch for the power cord. Oh really? Okay, so the power cord. Okay. Let's try the power cord. Oh, unfortunately not. No. Or was it like really 5 seconds set necessary to pull out like for 5 seconds minimum? Oh yeah, Svenja, I totally agree. I have that feeling as well. Right, load sheet. That is the final load sheet. We have 58.3, 100 kilograms more than initially thought. And the zero fuel weight CG is 32.4. And that's 64.8 takeoff weight, which we have calculated with correctly 30.5. Cool. Alright, that's all in. And then last thing to do is have a look at the NADP. That's at number 2. So 1530, 1530. And we have engine out 2100. Cool. Excellent. Briefing, and then we get to the part. Briefing, taxiing, we've got a position here, main apron Bravo, pushback. Yeah, we'll face east. We'll go Echo, Delta, Alpha, full length. No hotspots there. Departure route, Rodney 1 Bravo departure is a conventional SID. Climb straight ahead at or above 1030. Max 5000. Turn left, intercept Bravo, November Bovington, which I'll set in the RATNAV here. Bovington. 211 radial inbound, or course inbound. To 17 ease. Then turn right, intercept 254 bearing towards Henton. Blimey. Henton, 4th of 3.5. Okay, that's on the number 2 ADF. Cross Bovington radial 342 between 3 and 5. And then at 5 at Henton. Ensuring Bovington DME does not decrease below 4 miles. Okay. So we have to stay outside of 4 miles range from Bovington. Great stuff. Alright, then we intercept, I was just about to say Cape Town, but no, Compton. Compton radial 224 to Rodney. Compton, I'll set on number 2 there. For later. Cool. Good. Initial climb was 5,000. Dial that in. 5,000. 5,000 blue. Fantastic. Good. In case of engine failure, straight out runway track acceleration 2,100. We're going to climb. What happened now? Someone shut the light off. Accelerate 2,100, climbing then to 3,000 feet. Low MSA, so 3,000 will be saved all around. Then we return to Luton if it's time critical. If not, we'll what happened with Streamboard? Hey Franz. Yeah, Franz, thanks for the suggestion. Yeah. Interesting flight. So there's a nice circling coupled with a very short runway. So, you know, what more chances of a missed approach do you have, right? So. Okay, no, my off and on button works. It's just it's not registering on the graphics card. Yeah, I would say the weather has just really decreased. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, engine out. Return if necessary. Apart from that, stop margin 250 meters. Wet runway. Challenging, but okay, we'll take it. So we'll abort the takeoff until V1. For all the usual suspects, thrust loss, aircraft not controllable, any cautious warnings coming through the inhibition phase. And that's good. Any special threats? Weather? Lots of rain. Otherwise, I don't really see anything else. Oh, I'm going to use my app, the SimRef app, because that way I can really just call it up and do it that way. So checklist, cockpit preparation checklist. Guy pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity is 6,740 kilograms balanced. Seatbelts on. ADIRS. We have nav. Barrow Ref 1007 set 3 times checked. So that's the cockpit preparation checklist completed. Let's get the APU started. No, I don't think I have the easy checklist here. No, I don't. No, all good. All Gucci. They're all getting ready to. Eurovision? No, I'm not watching the Eurovision contest. The Eurovision Song Contest it is. Yeah. APU is available. Let's get the APU bleed on. Off. The rest looks good. Let's do the before start items. Okay. I guess the beacon doesn't initialize the pushback. Oh, look at that. Nice. Ooh, a double rainbow even.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Are you really? Oh, little chap, thank you. Nah, it's a short taxi out. No need to get single engine taxi. Hey, Alpha Aviation, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the kind words.
Pin inserted.
Ready for pushback, mate? Yeah. Hold on. Right, before start checklist, parking brake is on. We have takeoff speed thrust 116, 129, 132, flex 56, windows, doors. Yep, closed, and closed. The beacon is on. That's the before start checklist.
Locking gear.
Locking gear. We are ready, yes sir. 100%. Right. Let's get him onto rain already. What you doing? Where's your... Oh, where's mine? Facing south towards Bravo 7.
Release parking brakes, please.
Hey, lean out, Mike.
Push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Yesterday you had issues identifying runway 25. Really? Okay. Whew. I guess it will be a challenge today, for sure. Right, we got clearance to start the engines. All clear behind us, so let's start engine number 1. That monitor. Why is that monitor not showing up?
Please set parking brakes.
Brake set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
Yeah, hold on, mate. Good start on 1. Starting engine 2. Oh. Man, the sounds from... So on the Tollers with the KOSP sounds, that was great. The other day. Love that. Oh.
316 departure of our Charlie. Yeah, South VFR.
I mean, the FENIX sounds are great as well. Don't get me wrong. Alrighty.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Good start. 1 and 2. Let's do the after start items. Flaps 2. Rudder. Full flight controls. Full up. We have full down. Sun is shining now. Interesting weather. Hey Joey. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You know, it's interesting. A lot of people are really, you know, into
unlocking gear.
Correct sounds and good sounds, and then you start to notice these little things, right? Which definitely are great. So here's going to pull the pin.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Thank you. See you next time. So just going to wait for the clear there. Ah, Sapphire Wave, GG's. You get the extra points here today. I love it when some people are really carefully watching what I'm doing. Excellent. Good. Excellent stuff here today, guys. Right, so after start, we have anti-ice.
Now I'm entering the Heathrow control room.
Anti-ice off. ACOM status is checked. So we have pitch trim down 0.4, and then rudder trim is neutral. Now, normally what would happen is that, so, you know, we carefully enter the values here in the MCDU from the load sheet, correct? So we enter 32.4, right? So what we then check, we don't check the trim value per se, all right? Initially we go and check the there's a G indication there, right? So, I mean, interestingly enough, though, oh, for takeoff, sorry, for takeoff was 30 something, right? So takeoff CG was 30 point something, and then, right, we could say 30.2, let's say, and then I can check that the 30.2 coincide with down 0.4, right? So that would be kind of a closed loop check to make sure that we've entered everything correctly and that a trim is set correctly, because it is important. I did, James, yeah, and I should use FS Copilot, FS Copilot, or FS Crew more often, yeah. Good, that's the after check is complete. 22.8. Luton traffic, easy 82 Lima is taxiing runway 25 in Luton. So, left side clear, right side clear, let's go.
Okay, this is the Steven 55 Golf, passing through 2,000, climbing to 8,000, also further out.
Yeah, it's correct. So the green trim band tells you that even if you have set the wrong trim, or if the ECG is different, you can overpower the wrong setting with the joystick or the elevator range. But you still want to make sure that you have the correct setting, because in the end, what could happen, the aircraft could auto-rotate unexpectedly. So that's something we don't want to have, really. Why is it left or right? I don't know if left or right set. Right, brake check. Yeah, brakes are working. Matthias, good evening. So here's Echo 1. Echo 1, Echo 2, continue. Wow, this is like, I wonder what the airport originally used to be. Was it like military or something? Mark would know. Oh, wow, steep downhill here. Brakes there. It's an Airbus, yeah. And to the right we go. And that should be Delta, correct? Yeah, it is Delta. Ah, but they're really building stuff here, aren't they? Really expanding. It's another EasyJet. Hello, mate. Good. So we are now free of any buildings, any personnel. So let's do the radar PWS on. A bit of a reflection there. Nothing major though. Let's do orbit max. Cabin is ready. Takeoff config normal. So while we're here, we'll read the taxi checklist. Taxi, flight controls checked, flap setting, config 2, radar PWS is on and auto, engine mode selector normal, and incoming takeoff no blue, taxi checklist complete. Right, next Alpha to the left. James, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback. Luton was opened as a civil airport in 1938. It was commanded by the Royal Air Force. Okay. We're taking the shift. Yoda, why? Did I do something wrong again? Hang on. Shift 200 meters is in. Oops. I was just asking. Okay. No, yeah, we're taking the ship, and that's why we've calculated with it. We still have stop margin available and flex 56. So, do you like the A340? Which one? We have an Aerosoft Tolus one, and we have the Inibuilds A340 300. So which one do you mean? Sorry, 600. Good. We are ready. Aerosoft. So the Aerosoft Tolus I like very much, yeah. Good, there's the runway threshold. Let's slow down a bit so I can reach down and good headwind for takeoff, which is nice. And then I'll get the TCAS already on. So Gatwick approach online, but otherwise I don't see anyone online. Okay. Good. Everything's done. So again, 1,030 feet. And then left. Let's hold here for a second. Nobody on TCAS. That looks good. Packs are coming off. Strobes on. Cabin crew prepared for departure. Luton traffic. Easy A2 Lima, lining up departing runway 25 in Luton. Take off runway, yeah, 25 Alpha, TCAS, TARA. Hang on, where's? Hold on, something's wrong. Hold on. Oh, yeah, that's one. TARA and pack 1 and 2 are off. That's the taxi checklist complete. We're ready. Let's start the chrono. That's all set. Chrono start. Just need to arrange a few things around here, guys. Give me a second. There you go. Now I'm ready. Let's go. Take off. Manflex 56 SS runway. Auto thrust blue, thrust is set. Yeah, good acceleration there. 100 knots is checked. One. And rotate. she goes. Pod rate, gear up. Ah, into the sun. Yeehaw. Nice. Nice. 1,030 feet, left we go. Thrust climb, climb out blue. Auto thrust before I forget. Pack 1 is on. Flaps 1, speed is checked. Flaps 1, here comes pack 2. Flap 0, speed checked. Flap 0. IRL, did you find nighttime takeoff more difficult? I wouldn't say more difficult. The thing is, you get used to it so quickly. What I find difficult at nighttime, though, is yeah, no, fish cup, right? Once before Christmas, I get it. Manage. So, one thing I found difficult to do at nighttime is if it's raining, and then taxiing the aircraft around busy airports. So let's say, you know, in Paris, horrible, because when the apron is wet and, you know, lights are reflecting off the water puddles and so on. Yeah, 5,000 is start. So now normally what we would have to do, our company, is flight director off or thrust off to level off if we wanted to, or actually leave the flight director on as well, I guess. But right, let's do autopilot 1, outstar, speed. And there we have it. Out. Good, we got some weather up ahead, but nothing major it seems. I'm going to stay here on 5,000 just because we are usually in a very busy airspace environment here, so I'm going to keep with the restrictions here until Watney. We'll do a little bit of sightseeing, of course.
Could new subscribers please make their way to the first class cabin, where complimentary drinks, snacks and premium flight entertainment will be served. Thank you.
Good evening.
EG82 Romeo Golf, Luton taxi and runway 25.
John Tamara, hello to you, John. 52 months. Thank you so much for that. Good evening to you. John, how are you doing? Oh, okay, nice one. Well, that sounds like a challenge, though. Yeah, that's true. You know, if you have a system like Heathrow, follow the greens, that changes everything completely. No doubt. Yeah. So what for us? So our company had the philosophy: manual flight means manual thrust. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I think in this environment now, when we do the level off in manual flight, now we can leave the flight director on, of course, but we would have the auto thrust off. It's just a philosophy that we had, SOP, at the company. The only time when we would have manual flight but the auto thrust in is if we have a certain climb power set or takeoff power set, right? Then you would leave the auto thrust in because it is setting a certain fixed climb power. But once you get into outstar and it flips to speed mode, then you would disconnect the auto thrust and adjust the thrusters manually. I think happy with that initially. Good, here comes next climb. Let's go all the way up 350. Unless we get ATC telling us otherwise. Right, out constraint, climb blue 350. Oh, interesting. How come? Oh, because we are at 5,000. It's restricted. Yeah, it is real. Yeah, thrust set normally means, if I remember correctly, let's say you have a takeoff power, right, that you work out with the takeoff performance calculator. Right, normally you get a certain takeoff power showing here for the flex temperature, right? So a certain amount of percentage N1. Once you get like within 0.2% of that value, then you say thrust set. Nicolas, I'm sorry, Nicolas. Yeah, I think sometimes you got to give me some minutes to read the questions. Apologies. What do you mean prefer? I mean, when it comes altimeters, standard, set, cross check. I would say that in general, the VATSIM communications are very lifelike. So very much like in reality. So nice clouds today.
Right traffic as LAN for 1 landing runway 25, right?
So yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything negative about VATSIM in general, but of course in the real world, so in reality, I do expect professional instructions all the time, and professional communications. Yeah, the pilot monitoring calls it out, exactly. Because the pilot flying is busy looking outside and making sure that the aircraft stays on center line. So Eagle Motion, how are you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, that's true, Lee. I agree with that. In real life, you get more direct shortcuts. I agree. I think VATSIM controllers. So what happens IRL? So we know that every controller is responsible for their given airspace, right? So let's do RatNav clear. That's fine. So secondary copy active. And fix info is clear. So what happens normally IRL is that if a controller wants to give an aircraft a direct. Thank you, Jora. Hey, Stepke. So if they want to give a direct, which is outside of their controlled airspace.
Hello, Captain. Hello at all. Unfortunately, I have very little time.
Okay.
But this was important to me right
really nice.
now. Big thanks.
Oh, Stepke, thank you so much for the 3 years of support, Stepke. I appreciate the kind words. Sorry today so busy, but yeah, I wish that you're well and that you have nonetheless a nice weekend. Thank you so much, Stepke. So if you want to give a direct that's further away outside of your own airspace, you have to call the next controller, who's then responsible for the next airspace, and ask that controller if it's okay that you give him the aircraft the direct to a certain fix. So that's why I guess on VATSIM, I'm not sure how complicated it is to call up the next sector to do that. But IRL, a lot of this stuff is done electronically now, I guess. So that way it's quicker and more efficient with the rainbow. Nice clouds today. Nicolas, thank you so much. No, I don't like Paris, shall they go? So okay, so spoilers. Okay, John, spoilers. Just on touchdown, you will see the spoiler indication here. These little triangles, right? So you get the little wings showing up, right? This top section will show up, and then you see the little triangles. That's how you would check the spoilers being active after touchdown in the Airbus. In the Boeing, you will hear the speed brake lever move, and you'll also see then the speed brake lever move to the full extent position. So the airports I liked. So let's say the airports I find very efficient and very well structured. Munich, as an example. Munich was very nice. Berlin-Brandenburg was very nice and easy to taxi in and out of. But in general, I would say that I enjoyed, the smaller airports, just because they make life a bit easier. Any airport that has very complex, layouts of taxiways, lots of different numberings, and also sometimes you have, predefined taxi routings. So you have to study those beforehand, and then that in fog. I'm sorry, Yoda. So that in fog or in rainy conditions is always a challenge. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they always tell you to ask the control in VATSIM. That's true. Yeah, exactly, Fabian. IRL, that usually on one station, so one scope, there's an active controller talking to the aircraft, and then there's another person sitting next to him or her, monitoring, and also then picking up the phone to call the next sector or whatever information is needed. Yeah. The D-taxi, yeah. It's interesting that a lot of things are being, very often, are announced, and then it just takes ages, right? Engine NTIs, yeah. Engine NTIs on. It takes ages to materialize, and then sometimes these great ideas, like taxi bots, etc., they suddenly disappear again. Cool. Right, guys, a quick excursion into my experience that I had yesterday. So on my video regarding, so I've had someone help me do some of these short YouTube videos. For me, it was just a test to see how well received those would be, and if it would help the the algorithms get more viewers, etc. But I had one video there about the discussion we had on the 777 flight factor, where we had low takeoff weight for the 777, which resulted in very low V2 speed. Like V2 was like 130 knots or something. So I was like, well, that's really low. I'm not really feeling comfortable with regards to having engine failure. Just past V1. And we had a bit discussion regarding minimum control speed ground and then minimum control speed air. Which is aerodynamically dependent, right? Now somebody came on and said, dude, you should read the manuals because the 777 has the TAC, so thrust asymmetry compensation. Now, I'm aware of that because the 787 had something similar, and actually even a more advanced system in that regard to prevent aircraft getting below VMCA at full thrust settings, right? I'm aware of that, but the thing is, aerodynamically, if you have the airspeed below VMCA, so below the minimum speed air, and you have an engine failure, then the rudder will not have enough aerodynamic force on it to counteract fully the resulting yaw of that engine failure. So the TAC system, thrust asymmetry compensation, what it does is, if you have an engine failure, let's say on the ground, above 70 knots it has to be, I think. And let's say you pass V1. Let's say you have a low V1 because, you know, shorter runway wet, okay, a lower V1. And so let's say you have to kind of wait 15 knots until you get to VR, okay? Now, you're past V1. You cannot abort the takeoff anymore. You have to go, right? That's how you calculate the takeoff. So you're past V1, then the engine fails. You're below VR, so you can't rotate just yet. So what the TAC does, the thrust asymmetry compensation does, it automatically applies rudder. But it doesn't do it fully for you. It does it partially. Why? Because you still want the pilot to take the visual cues, i.e. the aircraft yawing, which tells the pilot, let's say the aircraft is yawing to the left. He will or she will automatically know by instinct, okay, I have to press the right rudder to keep the aircraft on the runway. And then there's a saying, dead leg, dead engine. So when I have to press the right rudder, the left leg is dead, so the left engine has failed. Quite simple, right? So if the TAC, so by technical standards, you could program it to completely eliminate the yaw. That would be technically possible. But Boeing said, no, we don't want that. We still want the pilot to have to do some sort of input to understand more easily which engine has failed, which makes sense in my opinion. So that's what the TAC does. The TAC is a yaw compensation, an automatic yaw compensation, which is great. Once you've lifted off, it will take over the full yaw compensation. So once the aircraft is in the air mode, it will take over the full yaw compensation, and you can take your pressure off the rudder pedals. So that's what the system does. Great system. But again, we're talking about two different things here. One is the aircraft is aerodynamically able to compensate the yaw because it is above the minimum control speeds, ground or air, depending on if you're on the ground or in the air. If you are, airspeed wise below that speed, then you've got a problem, right? So that's really what we're getting on. Now, I did some testing. So I did a test in the PMDG 777, and so I did a V1 cut. So an engine failure exactly at V1. And I could feel, yes, something was happening. Well, it was a bit weird because the ground friction works somewhat really strange in Micro's flight sim. So it is overpowered, right? So any kind of rudder input that you do really, makes some funky movements on the aircraft, right? But more interestingly, I looked down and I saw the rudder trim was like almost at full deflection. However, the flight control page showed 0 rudder deflection. And that continued after being airborne. So I did not touch the rudder, okay? Just by, I did it for experimental reasons. I didn't touch the rudder. The aircraft was yawing like crazy. So that yaw indicator was really to the side. The rudder indication showed a centered rudder. Outside view, right from the back, showed the rudder was completely neutral. But the trim was at complete right stop. So I was like, it doesn't make sense, does it? Like, what are you trying to simulate here? And then I went into the flight vector, an X-plane, and boy, what a difference. same scenario, V1 cut, and the aircraft, you could feel the aircraft and systems, the yaw compensation kicking in, the tack kicking in, helping a little bit to stabilize the yaw or counteract the yaw. And then any rudder input that I did was really well balanced, so you could really nicely control the yaw moment. And then after liftoff, oh yeah, and then I checked again the trim and the rudder. The trim was only a little bit deflected, but the rudder was definitely deflected on the flight control page, as you would expect. So that's me not touching the rudder again, right? I took the rudder pedals to neutral, and once airborne, the tack did what it's supposed to do. It took over the complete yaw elimination, and it just handled so much easier in the flat factor. Really, really cool, and very realistic in my opinion. So yeah, I find it interesting to see the different philosophy behind, you know, X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Sim, where it just seems like in Microsoft the add-on developers have to do some kind of weird workarounds to kind of trick Microsoft Flight Sim into some sort of you know, aerodynamic behavior. Somewhat weird. Yeah, James. Yeah, my dad did fly the Starfighter. Yeah. He has 2,200 hours in it. Yeah, it had a lot of issues at low airspeed. Give you a little bit background information. But one of the reasons why a lot of Starfighter crashed was the Starfighter didn't have slats. Right? It only had flaps. So if you only take flaps and on that little wing area, it doesn't really do much in regards to allowing it to fly much, much slower. So to help with the aerodynamics, what they had is they had a bleed air outlet on top of the flaps. Right, so as the flaps came down, some little vents opened just above the flaps in the wing section and blew bleed air from the bleed air system into the boundary layer of the airflow. So improving the boundary layer behavior, and so allowing then the Starfighter to fly slower on landing. And after engine start, what the technicians do, there's a check at some point where you lower the flaps, and then the technicians would actually take their hand and move along the flaps and check if that bleed air system is working. Because if it wasn't, let's say you had the bleed air on one side fail, then one wing would stall a lot quicker than the other one. And that's actually what happened on a number of occasions where the aircraft was in the pattern, and then for some reason the bleed air system on one side failed, and the aircraft just got into, so one wing stalled and the aircraft just flipped, and at that low altitude there was just no chance for the pilots to eject. So a lot of pilots died and crashed in that scenario. Okay, Yoda, thanks for the background info. So TAC kicks in doing 55 to 65 knots until liftoff, and after liftoff, the P beta takes over the duty of the TAC. Thank you much. Yeah. Is 30? Yeah, around 30 knots sounds about right. Yeah, which is a lot. So imagine difference between 190 knots landing speed and 160 knots landing speed. Right. Yeah, but you had to make sure that that it didn't fail. It's a short. Yeah, it was for arrival. Yeah, like Fishclip said. So So the issue right now is that you would say, Basel has a long runway. What are you talking about? Yeah, normally it does. It has a 3,900 meters runway, 1.5 and 3.3, right? But that's closed at the moment, IRL, because of runway works. So the only runway available is 2.5. And I would imagine, honestly, I think IRL easy would fly there with an A319, right? But we love challenges, so we're flying there with the 320. Special permissions by the EasyJet Operations Center. And so yeah, we finally got to the right value, 1,600 meters available landing distance. So if you touch down exactly at the 1,000 foot marker, you will have 1,300 meters remaining, which is not a lot. And really, does it say? Wow, Avenger, thanks for the info. Okay, Flight Radar says it's an A320. Wow. Now I have to say, hats off. Seriously. Seriously, hats off. I mean, again, you've got to hit the 1,000 foot marker to have 1,300 meters remaining available, right? If you flare like for 200 meters, then you only have 1,100 meters remaining until you're in the grass. Whew. That's not a lot. That is a lot of heavy braking going on there. 100%. Right, let's quickly look at received messages. What do you mean late? I'm not late. Tess. 30th as a pilot, what were the funniest moments? Funny moments are usually communications over the frequency. Passengers doing boarding. Yeah, and then the funny moments, like, you know, the stories with animals in the cargo hold, and yeah. But usually, I mean, you know, it's operational stuff that sometimes is quite funny. Yeah. Really, all EasyJet today's with A320s, amazing. Yeah, Firenze is wow. They landed with a 320 Neo, crazy. So, remember, guys, I was talking about oh, lots of meows on 125, unfortunately. Yeah, lots. So, interesting enough, I talk a lot about, you know, us flight simmers always looking for the, you know, the perfect touchdown, right? Greaser every time, right? But there are situations where you just can't go for a greaser. So the only way you could grease a landing today is to go below path, right? To like literally cross physically the threshold here at 20 feet, 10 feet. So that means, you know, going way below normal path here. Yeah, maybe 4 reds, right? To, you know, to touch down before the 1,000 foot marker, right? It's okay, you can do that, right? Because as long as you don't touch down prior to the threshold here, the threshold markings, you're not doing anything wrong, right? I would even claim that, I'm not saying you should do this, I'm just saying if you went 50 feet here, there's no obstacles here, right? Because this is a takeoff part. This part of the runway can be used for takeoffs. So there's no obstacles that you're going to hit if you fly lower, right? But this section here is not for touchdowns. Now, you could argue, yes, but the reason for the display threshold may be obstacles here just prior to the runway. Correct? So it's your duty, right? As you're flying visually, it's your duty to make sure you don't hit anything, right? Hey, MS Air, oh really? So they have an RNF approach at the moment for runway 25. Ah, okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, they can do that, right? You know, you can make what's called a company overlay FMS or company FMS overlay approach, CFO. Yeah, but we don't need that. All right, we're good pilots, well-trained pilots. We've got everything we need. So we have this instrument chart taking us to the circling altitude. Yeah, I'd rather go with the... I mean, 2030, I find a bit like a joke. I mean, they should have put like 2100 there, right? However, so that's our minimum, right? We reach the minimum at some point, around about 2.5 miles here, approximately. Then we have to see the runway 25 for the circling, and then there's a circling depicted here, right? So the visual maneuvering with prescribed tracks. We'll program that into the fixed pages so we have a bit of a visual reference on the DAF display. But this approach is clearly defined, right? So 1.6 miles, 112 degrees. Then you go 1.7 miles, 074 degrees. And then you turn with max 160 knots on to final, right? So if I look at the chart here, now what it doesn't, what it does not give you is the vertical profile, and this is where the challenge comes in, right? So you kind of have to estimate your track mileage, okay? So I would say I've got about 2 miles on final here. That'll be about 2 miles for the base turn, so 4 miles. Let's say that's about 5.5 miles to this point. 5.5. So it's about 7 miles from the VOR. So if I cross the VOR at 2,100 feet, then theoretically, if I fly this exactly to the track mileage I just named, I should start my 3-degree profile descent at the VOR. And then I should be right on track. By theory. Okay, by theory. Will it work? We'll have to see. Now, interesting enough, it says here, the standard pattern is an 1800. I mean, it doesn't really help you that much, because again, if you had minimums here, 2,100, maybe then you could go down to 1,800, right? But I would say, so there's an obstacle here at 1,000 feet, right? And usually you have to cross 1,000 feet above obstacles, right? So I wouldn't go below 2,000 feet before passing the VOR, to be honest. So again, 2,100 feet here, 2,000, and then, yeah, we'll start the normal descent. Meaning, energy-wise, I would have gear down, flaps 2 for sure here, flaps 3 at the VOR, start my descent, flaps 4, and then fly the pattern. Huh? All the 320s today were landing using 1.5? Seriously? But I thought it's closed. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It says VMC performed downwind leg at 2,500 feet. Doesn't make sense to me, Fabian. Because you know, you've got your minimums at 2,100 or 2,030. You know, would they then expect you to climb back up to 2,500 feet, or you know, because then you'd say, oh, well, level off at 2,500, right? Well, you know, it says you can go down for the circling, right? Down to 2,030 to see the runway. So let's say the ceiling's in 2,200 feet, right? If you then climb back up again to 2,500. So it says an IMC perform downward leg at max height possible, maintaining visual reference to the ground. Yeah, I guess for noise, I would ignore that, to be honest. That does not make sense to me. So I would stay 2,100, 2,000, and then start the descent. Yeah. Good. So they reopened today. Darn. So if we have ATIS, so if we have ATC at Basel, we may have to log off to do the circling. I mean, that's why we're doing the flight today, to do that challenge. I'm not going to do a boring landing on 1.5. I didn't do the flight today to do a boring landing. And now IRL, of course, we would land 1.5. Don't get me wrong, but we want to have a challenge going. Yeah, Franz, like, it wouldn't make sense. So let's pretend the runway is still closed. So let's pretend the following. So they reopened it, an aircraft landed, and then damaged the runway, right? Let's say the tarmac wasn't completely dried up. Okay, so no, Voyager. Go around is definitely allowed today. I took some fuel for that. So let's see. No, France doesn't seem to have any open sectors right now. We are coming up to right over Paris right now. It's cloudy today, unfortunately. I can't see anything. Thanks, Alex. Hey, Wingrens, your friend wants to be a pilot but is scared to solo. So I assume he's already flying? What's flying? Glider planes or propeller planes? What was he flying? The question is what is he or she afraid of? It's a go right until it's a landing. That's true. Nice definition like that. Good. Regarding mindset, so how would I mentally plan such an approach and such a landing? I would definitely brief that touchdown has to be performed in the touchdown zone. Okay. So, literally, I would say to the first officer, we have to touch down between just beyond the threshold and the 1,000-foot mark. That's what we have to touch down. So if we see the 1,000-foot markers behind us without us touching down, go around. Okay. I would probably say that I'm going to aim for 50 feet at the physical threshold there, and then maybe between 20-30 feet here to assure a solid positive touchdown latest at the touchdown zone. That's how I would mentally prepare for the approach there. But no doubt the touchdown zone markers, so the big white rectangles, the solid rectangles, if we don't touch down by that, then we would go around. Now it's a bit again regarding real world markings and FlightSim markings. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Oh, that's cool. I can get the settings in here now. Hey Enzo. So let me try and get Google Earth. Actually, let me do that differently. Let's see if I can find it on the website. Trying to remember a flight where I landed on a runway that is that was shorter than 2,000 meters. I can't remember. Right, let me find the airport. Basel. Where's the airport? What is that? Lord. So on Google Maps it actually has 2 runway markings there. Right, but we have now, like, thanks to Lee. Yeah, so that's 200 meters. No, I never went to Mykonos. No, either. So that's 200 meters. That's a 300 meters. Yeah, but I never landed IRL in Santos. So that's 300 meters there, and that's 200 meters. So that would be okay. That would be the 1,000-foot marker. So I would have then to say, okay, we have to be touched down latest at the second markings there. That's the latest. Now, if I have a look here, so that's 600 meters. So that's another 300 meters almost Yeah, and that's a problem, isn't it? So the reason for the display threshold is definitely this area here. Construction side or something. So that's why you have to look out for. Bremen, same. Yeah, I mean, Bremen 2,000 meters. I mean, you know, I don't have an issue landing, you know, 2,000 meters on a 321. Good. Okay, so guys, should the airport add-on have the same markings, then it's going to be the second markings. Okay. Otherwise, we'll take the touchdown zone markers there, 1,000-foot markers there. So that's all correct. And on the other side. On the other side, it is, yeah, 300 meters, so that's 1,000-foot markings there as well. So that's correct. And that's correct, second one. Cool. Which scenery? I bought, it's VFR, France VFR. Yeah. Hey, Magenta chart. Yeah, no, it's France VFR. Yeah, the shortest Friedrichshafen has a long runway as well, right? So I'm trying to think if I land on any Greek island that had less than 2,000 meters, but I would say that I've never landed in the 320s. I've never landed on a runway that was shorter than 1,800 meters. I'm pretty sure about that. Okay, so I beamed the taxiway. Okay. In the taxi. Was that the one then we just showcased, the second one? Yeah, okay, so that's the one you mean there. Yeah, so, okay, thanks Fabian. Okay, so again, we could also take this taxiway as a reference. So you could say, right, so we've got taxiway both sides of the cockpit window there. So once that taxiway, once we reach that taxiway, the center of that taxiway, and we haven't touched down, go around. And at night time, it would be a challenge, but we still have daylight, right? We're in light on lifetime, so 1800 UTC. Good, we got the descent point coming up again. Oh, holy moly, so fast. Let me get the weather, and let's check that we have no 80s there. Section right, so we go to arrival. Yeah, Sony Meta. Let's update that. 1730. 230 at 4, so 25 is okay. Cab okay, nice. 12 degrees and 1013. I'll enter those values straight away into the box. 1013 and 12 degrees. 230 at 4. And minimums is 2030. Config full. And yeah, secondary flight plan, guys. We did talk about secondary flight plan earlier, didn't we? So let's go and put just a runway 25 into the secondary. No via. Okay. Also on the secondary performance, I'll also enter the values here. What was it? Oh, here it's Wind was already there. That's interesting. Right. Config 4. Right, 525. There we go. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a center line in here. So Lima Foxtrot Sierra Bravo 25. And for that, I need the runway heading. So let's go here 254, so 074 outbound for the runway track line. And then we can also carry landing incoming. I'll do my best not to put too much stress on the landing gear, but no promises today, guys. So let me do some pilot waypoints then, okay? So go to data, next page, page 2, pilot waypoints. Delete all of them. So let's call this BSL 01. Okay. Now we want to do the origin point, Bravo Lima Mike, as a place. The bearing is 112 degrees for the Charlie category aircraft, and then 1.6 miles. So that's what it looks like. Bravo Lima Mike, 112 degrees, 1.6. I'm going to put that in there. Store. Right. Now we've made this waypoint, which is now this point here. So I'm going to take this point, so BSL 01, and then to get this waypoint here, I'm going to put 074 degrees, 1.7 miles, okay? So new waypoint. So the identifier will be Basel 02. And the place is Basel 01, the fix we just created, 074 and 1.7. Place bearing distance. Correct. Stored. Good. So now we've created this waypoint. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to program anything else in here. Well, but hang on, I could do. What I could do is maybe put a 2 mile here for 600 feet above the runway. Runway elevation is 885. So then that would be about 1,500, yeah, 1,500 feet at 2 miles. Yeah, why not? Why not? So I'm going to put new waypoint, Foxtrot, Lima Foxtrot Sierra Bravo 25 as the place, bearing 074 and 2 miles. I'll call that Basel 03. Alright, store. Good. Now, I'm going to go to the fix info pages, and all I'm going to do is put in these 3 points. So we've got that one there, and that one there. Now, I'm sure some of you will think, well, hang on, you could program them on the next page, right? Yeah, you could. You could. And you could fly initially at least at the downward leg in nav mode. Right? The thing is, though, you would still have to really make sure that you have somewhere a raw data indication of that VOR radial and the DME distances to cross-check if the map makes sense or not. Right? So that's something I would definitely do. So how does this look like now on the nav page there? So let me go and have a look. There you go. So here's the VOR approach. Here's the Bravo Lima Mike VOR. Actually, I think there's this one here. Then we have the first top descent reached. Let's start descent here. So we have descent out blue 230 initially. Yeah, so we go VOR, Bravo Sierra Lima 01, 02, base turn to final, 03, and then final. And so here we have to be 1,500 feet on the altimeter. This is what I mean with the speed being very close to maximum speed. Let's get some speed brakes on. And then if that doesn't help, selected speed. Speed brake working. Always surprising how... Hey Senshai, wie geht's dir? Hope you're doing well. Senshai, thank you so much for the 71 months.
Could new subscribers please make your way to the
Yeah.
first class cabin?
Hope you're feeling good.
Complimentary drinks, snacks, and
Right, more
premium
drag.
flight entertainment.
Blimey, how much too high are we?
Thank you.
500 feet too high. What? Look, this doesn't make sense, guys. This is just silly. Like, seriously, 7,000 feet of descent. No. That does not make sense. Right. What kind of path did the program? Hang on. What is this? Okay, because the Cosnix 56, it wanted to fly 336 managed descent speed. Yeah, no doubt. That's, of course, a very steep profile. Right, let's going to descend down here. Let's go level 100. Descend up blue, thrust idle. Alright. Now we should get problems with the cabin altitude. Alright, let's try to remember next time 56 is a bad idea in the Phoenix. That's a huge difference. 56 down to 15. Yeah, I guess I'm used to 787 Cosnix speeds. So 56 Cosnix did not sound any alarm bells for me, because the highest you can enter is 99 in the Airbus. Huh? But now that we entered a Cosnix of with slower descent speed, we are actually below the path again. No, that's weird. Right. I don't know. It seems a bit weird, to say the least. But it could be pilot-induced error. Who knows? I'm not claiming I'm correct on that, but that felt a bit weird. Yeah, it is a bit funky sometimes. All right. Anyways. We should be back on path now. Just check track miles, 60 miles, track miles, 18,000. Yeah, that looks better. Although, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to down to 5,500 feet now, or 6,000 actually. I'm going to go open descent. So selected speed, selected vertical profile. And then I'm going to go speed brakes. I'm going to descend a bit quicker, because I don't want to fly the approach too fast. Now, I know it has 185 knots programmed in there, but I just want to make sure that I slow down enough. Just want to take a little bit of energy out of the aircraft. Max 220, initial approach fix. Yeah, max 185. Okay, it has that there as well. Okay, that's cool. Alright, let's slow down. 250. Bit of tailwind as well. Good. So we've briefed, initials is 4,000 with the ARC, 8.4 DNE Bravo Lima Mike, final fix 15, start descent, 3.12 degree down to the minimums of 2,030 feet. Then we switch over to the VPTA, 112 outbound from the VR, 1.6 miles, then downwind, make sure we turn a bit earlier, not to overshoot too far. And then we have a 1.7 downwind leg, turn to final. And then the missed approach would be 254 degrees until we intercept and follow 233 radial from Bravo Lima Mike until 13 DNEs, and then we go in a 15 DNE arc back to Arctic and climb 5,500 feet. Okay. So now for the auto brake setting, even though we are mentally preparing for a max manual braking, remember what I told you guys. If I leave auto brake off to say I'm going to go max manual braking right after touchdown, experience shows we pilots tend to delay the max manual braking until the nose gear is on the ground, because we're afraid that the nose gear slams when we hit full brakes straight after touchdown. So the idea is that auto brake medium will kick in after 1 second after touchdown, which is already a very hefty braking force, and then once that's active, the nose will lower, and then I'm going to override the auto brake and really put on max reverse and max manual braking. So that's the idea behind that. Sector altitude around the airport. Let's have a quick look here. Yeah, I've got a sector 6-4 Altic, but within 15 miles, it's wide area. Would be safe in, just say here, yeah, but 4,100. So we're below MSA on the approach, anyways. So we've got to be aware of that. But yeah, I'm going to stick with the ARC, and the ARC is flown at 4,000 feet. Highest obstacle here is 1,700. Yeah, it's a bit more hilly to the northwest. 4,000 feet there. It's quite hilly actually. So we make sure that we stay on the correct path there. Now let me enter the Bravo Lima Mike as well, because we are flying a conventional BUR approach. So I do want an inbound radial as well, 152 degrees. Alright, and approach phase is active. So we continue slowing down here. Good. The altimeter 1013. Set the altimeter 1013, and I'm going to check one more time the weather, just to make sure that we have the current weather. So is 1013. So yeah, updated weather still 210 at 4. And that's well 210 at 4. Still 12 degrees, fantastic. Alright. Good. After landing, where do we need to go? We need to have a look here. So the amber is restricted for these aircraft, so we can actually take Papa. So we'll take, at the end, Papa cross, right then by Delta Sierra to the apron. Specials, threat skies. Or specials, very short runway. We briefed up the technique, so we are definitely go around minded. Yeah, they are rewriting a VNAV. Okay, yeah, looking forward to that. 2,000 feet to go. And anything else? Here comes flaps 1. Speed is check flaps 1. Yeah, so call-outs would be important. Harpies should be monitored. we do have Papi on the left side for runway 25. Apparently, we'll see if the add-on has it as well. Good. Basel traffic easy. 82 Lima is overhead Altic for the arc for the VOR approach 15 with the circling 25 in Basel. Down we go 4,000. We still have to reduce the speed here. It was a little bit fast. Come on. Yeah, the aircraft does not want to slow down. Flaps 2. Speed check. Flaps 2. Let's do 175.
Belfort traffic, Delta Echo Charlie Sierra Sierra, 1 minute to reach overhead. Belfort, 2,500. I will go for runway 18 left.
Not for us. Good. So we have Bravo Lima Mike here. Now, if I look at again at the VOR Rose mode, right? So you see, we can monitor now the arc being flown. Right. Although, let's just check here. Yeah, 12 DME 4000. There we go, doing it very nicely. And you can see the Airbus. So if you fly this in nav mode, it actually just maintains a constant bank angle. Right. So we would, if we flew this with heading mode in a raw data environment, then we would have the needles, you know, go up and down, above and below the 90-degree marker there.
That's the cabin secure for landing.
Thank you. Yeah, but it's flying that very nicely. Coming down to 4,000 on speed. Speed brakes coming back in. Let's have a look outside the right-hand window. Beautiful. Lovely landscape, and there you can see the hills to the west. And that's the reason for the higher MSAs there. There's another one there, actually. Oh yeah, beautiful. Lovely area. Not really, no. I don't think that, you know, under normal circumstances, Outstar, it will not damage the tires, no. I wouldn't expect.
Traffic, Delta Charlie Sierra Sierra, downwind, runway 18 left, full stop.
Good. I'm already going to put those on, and then I'm going to read the approach checklist, or descent checklist, whatever it's called. Approach descent checklist. Approach checklist. Barrel reft 1013 set 3 times. Checked. Seatbelts on. Minimum bar row 2030. Auto brake medium. Engine mode selector is normal. And that's the approach checklist completed. Next is the landing checklist. No, I highly doubt that this would be flown by the first officer. I think standard ops would be indeed captain's landing only. The first officer can still help with the visual cues, Franz. The first officer can tell the captain, hey, I can see the PAPI lights now, you know, you're low or high or whatever, or on path. You know, turn rate is good, whatever. He can still definitely let the captain know. Good. Okay, so now I do have a raw data indication here, right? Which is important because it is a raw data approach. Now, if we want to be even stricter, you could have the first officer have the rose mode there. Right. So we got alt. I'm going to put 2,100 feet in here for the minimums. And we set 3.2. Now we could fly this in approach mode. Here's the runway for runway 15. Already visible. we go. Descent point coming up at 8.4 degrees. So we have 1 more to go. I'm going to slow down a bit more, 160 knots. Right, so for the circling, there's the river. So we are going to cross the river, which we can clearly see here. Down. Cool. Right, here we go. We go vertical speed. I'm going to go flight path angle now, minus 3.2. So FPA minus 3.2 out blue. And a good thing is we're already visual here, which is nice. How would we normally fly this now? I think it would be a good idea to leave the autopilot and autothrust in initially, just to reduce the workload. Right. Now we also have some nice visual cues here on the nav display to help us.
2,500.
It's checked. Right. But otherwise, like we said, 1.6, that's 3.4, oh, sorry, 3.3, 5.3, 7.5 miles roundabout. So yeah, I think we have to descend continuously from this point onwards, past the VOR. We've got 6 miles, 5.5 miles to the VOR. So that's already good. Basel traffic. Easy 82 Lima is on the final 1.5. However, we are going to fly the circling runway 25 in Basel. And for engine management, we will put the gear down earlier. Gear's coming down. Flaps 3, speed check, flaps 3. Here's the level off. Out star, we'll arm the spoilers. So all that's missing now, flat tractor coming off. All that's missing now is the flaps 4. Here we go. Strange, right? We're going to continue for another 2 miles before we turn.
100 above.
Yeah, almost before the threshold, you see, before we turn downwind. Gonna go track here. Track. Yeah, then I'm gonna put the minimums about. Let's put 900 feet initially. Right, here we go. Once we pass the field of the VR. Okay, so I'm going to start turning here to the next point. So that was 112. Right about. And we're going to start our descent here, minus 3 degrees. And let's hope we calculate everything correctly. Flaps full, speed is checked. Flaps full.
Minimum.
Continue.
$1,000.
Let's check. Right, speed is managed. Landing checklist. Economic landing, no blue. Right, out we go. 074 degrees. So one thing I did forget is Lima Fox Sierra Bravo 25. A little bit more, so it's up 4 degrees. Right, manual flight. Manual thrust. And then 5.5 for the missed approach. Wow, this feels weird, to be honest. Oh, hang on. Something's wrong, guys. Something's really wrong regarding the weather. I'm not on live weather. You've got to be kidding me. Hang on. No, I'm on live weather. Okay, full speed. Well, it's just so tight. I'm 2 miles from the field. Hang on.
Don't sink.
That's right. Oh yeah, go right.
Don't sink.
Go right flaps. We'll analyze exactly what went wrong there in a minute. We got positive rates. Mantoga SOS going around track. Gear up. I'm going to put that there. So 254 initially straight ahead. Pull that track. Level climb. Thrust climb. 5.5. Blue. Flaps 1. Speed check. Flaps 1. Direct. Insert. Oh, that's right. That's right. You're a flaps 1. Somewhere in the... Oh, I know what I'm... Okay, I know. Disregard. I know where my thought process was wrong. Silly mistake. No, it's a very silly mistake. Let's go select speed here. Autopilot on. Heading select. So we're going to fly that until we hit 7.8. And it's traffic, easy 82 Limas and a misapproach, standard misapproach back to Altic. No. I don't know why. I don't know why I was so cold or kind of into the 2,100 feet above mean sea level, because my calculation obviously has to be above ground, not above mean sea level. So I guess lately I've just been flying too often to airports that are sea level, and so of course my calculations for descent, they have to be referenced to the airport elevation, not sea level, obviously. It's stupid. So now I'm just wondering, 2,500 feet. So 2,500 is literally 1,500 feet, maybe just 1,450 above the airport. Exactly. So that's why the 2,500, as it says here in the text, obviously does work as well, because it's not that high. So the 2.5 is actually only like, 1,500 feet, 1,600 feet above the ground. That's one. And nobody here noticed either. I'm shocked. It was a test. It was a test for you guys. You all failed. Oh, you did, Lee? Oh, sorry, no, hang on. We just didn't bother. Yeah, right. Lee was the one who noticed. Yeah, but Lee, hang on, Lee, you've got a don't you have a mod command for the next time? Hang on, just in case I don't read the hold on. No, not that one. No. If it don't look right coming down, don't wait until your sideways speed is sliding on the ground. You can always go around. There we go. This one here. Hang on, you got this one.
Hello, Captain. A moderator needs your attention. Thank you.
Can we, for you moderators, it's just for you moderators, right? Right, so you've got special rights for that. It should work. The order, yeah. So you guys, you got a responsibility. My moderators have special responsibility, right? It probably has a cooldown. Hang on. it probably has a cooldown, guys. Let me just check that. Cooldown. No, it has no cooldown.
Order! Order!
That's the one, yeah. Order. And that should work. TCAS? No, TCAS isn't in yet. Try. Can you do me a favor? Can you try Lee or Yoda? Exclamation mark mod again. Oh, hang on. Now try it. Hang on. No, now.
Hello, Captain. A moderator needs your attention.
Yeah, her cooldown
Thank
in
you.
there. Okay, so the cooldown is now out. Exactly. Right, guys. Yeah, so real big brain fart there from my side. So this time what we'll do, we'll fly it correctly. So 2000, we'll go down to 2100 again. That's for sure. So I'm going to go with speed managed. Whoops. And we're going to go down to, well, actually we'll leave 5.5 here. We'll stay here. So we'll descend down to 2100 again. Approach phase is active. Give me a second. There we go. Approach phase is now active again. And we can descend down to 4,000 on the arc. 4,000 down we go. We have descent up to 4,000. Right, so 2,100, which is only 1,400 feet above the ground. Okay. So my instinct saying it looks low was correct. The only thing that wasn't correct was my calculations. But yeah, then again, we went around. All good. Lessons learned. So, if we only 1,500 feet above the ground, or even less, 1,400 feet, then of course we only have to lose 1,400. That's about, let's say, 4.5, 5 miles, right? So if we have 2 miles here, another 2 miles there, that's 4. So we have to start to send, I guess, over the river somewhere. So that's definitely going to take us out a bit better. Cool. Right, flaps 2. Speed is checked. Flaps 2. Let's go 170 knots again. And then we go down. Vertical speed 4,000. You would have had the issue. Yeah, I know. Maybe I should from now on only fly to airports that are at sea level. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder why my thought process was like it was. Really weird. Yeah, but the thing is, often, especially when you're flying outbound, and you know a certain offset angle, you probably won't see the PAPI lights, right? And it doesn't help you if you fly outbound to look at PAPI lights. I'm getting old. That as well. That's true. Out of practice, I guess. I'm getting old. But it doesn't help you. So really, the only time it really helps if you are shots fired. No, I'm alright with that. No denying I'm getting old. So if you're on base, getting closer to final, then the PAPI lights make sense. But otherwise, yeah. But for us, I mean, it goes without saying, if we turn base and then start seeing the PAPI lights here, we're probably going to have 4 white lights. which isn't ideal either. So yeah, I want to find a point somewhere here on the downwind to start my gentle descent down. All right, and then I'm going to use the progress page with a distance to threshold to tell me how many track miles I still have and at what altitude I should be. Good. Briefing remains the same. Fuel check, we have 2.9, and min diversion fuel is... min diversion is 2.3. So we're still good on fuel. The weather at alternate is also good. Cav okay. Good. So no threats, no issues. Fantastic. My first thought, weirdly enough, you know what? My first thought was that we got the wrong weather or the wrong QNH setting or something. That was my initial thought. I thought, hang on, what's going on here? Right, let's go through these. So it's about 900 feet, okay? We're at 2,100 here. Right, so let's say 1,200 feet that we have to lose. Now, 1,200 is pretty much 4 miles on a 3-degree profile, correct? So here's 2 miles. So really, yeah, at the end here of that 1.7 mile leg, that's where we would ideally start descent. We'll try it, okay? Learning by doing, so we'll try it, but this time we've got to nail it this time. Although I tell you what, if we go around, we'll land 1.5, okay? Then no. Okay, then we divert. Pressure is on. Okay. Where on earth is the alternate airport? I have no idea. Straßburg from here? Where is it? What's the alternate again? It is Lima Fox Sierra Tango. Lima Fox Sierra Tango. To the north. Okay. Right, let's descend again, 2,100. Flight path angle, down we go. We got flight path angle, out blue, 2,000. So a quick look here. It should be 50 miles, not that far. 50 miles to the north. Okay, that's 4. Let's fix. No. Alright, I'm just gonna trust it. Can't take it if all fixed pages are filled out. Gears coming down.
2,500.
Oh, Exos. Well, I mean, the thing I'll be taking very seriously, obviously, the private flying, the GA flying. I'll take that very serious again. But I have to admit, yeah, some of the IFR stuff here with the airliners. With my Cessna, I learned to look to the threshold from time to time on the base to avoid. Yeah, I mean, operator, that's the thing, right? So, you know, when you're used to a certain angle, you know, kind of descent angle to the runway, you get a good feel over time if you are high or low in the approach. The problem is airline pilots, they are good at like kind of referencing flaps 3 speed shift, flaps 3. You know, when you're referencing a direct in approach, like this, like, you know, too red, too wide. That's a normal picture. We're good with doing that, right? But any kind of visual approaches, circlings, it's unusual for us, right? And that makes it more challenging. And again, we're flying aircraft that go, you know, 170 knots ground speed right now, which is a lot faster than GA. We'll see the runway from the left side. Well, not really. Well, I mean, even if you lean a little bit to the front, no, it's going to be hard.
100 above.
Right. It's checked. Minimum is continue. I'm going to go pull the heading up here for track. Right, let's get this right this time. So all that's missing now. Oh, yeah, the approach checklist. Bar ref 1013 is set. We have. Let's do it quickly. So approach checklist again. We have bar ref 1013 checked. Seatbelts are on. Minimum is bar 2030 still set. Here comes the left turn. Speed managed. Minimum, yeah, the set auto brake is medium still, and engine mode selector is a norm. So that's the approach checklist complete. What's missing is the landing checklist. There we go. So outwards we go. Look at the runway here. That's how close we are. Flaps full, speed checked. Flaps full, landing checklist. Economy landing no blue. Landing checklist complete. Here comes manual thrust, manual flight. 2,500 missed approach is set. Now I'm gonna activate the secondary flight plan. There we go. So we have the center line now. Whoop. That's a nice wind change. Thank you much for that. That's right, here we are, about to reach the 1.7 miles outbound. And we'll start the ascend. Probably need a 25-degree bank turn for that. Progress page, 3 miles to the runway.
1,000.
That's checked. So the passengers have a better view. I'm cheating, 1 red, 3 white. But that looks a bit better this time.
Traffic Lufthansa 7 Echo Charlie is saying now to 7,000 feet near LFSB runway 22 Geneva traffic.
Right, 3 miles. We're still going to be a bit low, I think. Not much though, hopefully. Right, let's get to that waypoint there. Where's my... Ah, we're right. 3 red, 1 white. We can correct that. Basel traffic, easy 8 to Lima, turning final 25 in Basel. Checklist has been completed. On path, wind from the... pretty much calm. It's huge. It's a wide runway. That looks really strange. Is that because they're short? It's kind of an optical illusion. Short runway, meaning...
500.
Go a little bit lower on purpose here.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
Take that. With spoilers, there we go. You can see the spoilers now. Somebody asked about the spoilers. Now you can see them. And manual braking. What does it say? 480. Ah, okay, that's hard. We've arrived. There we go. Right, papa, off we go. 6 knots past. Cool. All right. After landings. It's hard. I found it really hard. Rip the wheels? No, it's alright. They would have done 1.4 Gs. It says there. So again, guys, the thing is this. So the landing rate. So when you do a very late pull, right, it delays the descent rate. It's just, I would say the readouts are very. It was a hard landing. Definitely not worth applause, but survivable. No, I used this one here. So this is the landing rate right now. So it says 4.42 Gs. Right, this runway should be closed anyways. Clear. Crossing. No, we don't. We're going to do another flight, but we're going to go into X-plane with the Q400, the Dash 8. No, I'm not using FS Realistic. I'm using, the only things now I'm using was the Atmos. And I am using, what was that one called? You know, with the visual effects. Tree something. Tree. Yeah, Tree Sim, that's the one. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to park on the north side there. But I mean, it's a good lesson again. Good lesson to see how quickly, you know, if you have, you know, for whatever reason, you're kind of in the wrong movie, as we say, and you have your train of thought and calculate the descent point, but then you forget. Oh, hang on. It's not, you know, the airport is not at sea level. It's actually at 880 feet. You've got to take that into account.
Wonderful evening to you all. Smile.
Hey, Cat Mitchell.
You're doing well. 30 months have flown by very quickly.
Oh, they have.
I still remember when you were within the transition to the 787D. Very surreal.
Ah, it is, yeah. Yeah, the other day when I was thinking about that, I have a feeling this is like a really old Terminal 20. Let's take this one. 22. Yeah, true. Time just goes so fast. Totally agree. Hang on. There we go. So that's why, really, you do need, you know, 2 pilots, right? And then hope the other pilot, who does their own calculations and their own pre-planning, then, you know, will say at some point, hey, no, I think that's wrong. You know, you're descending too early because we're only like, you know, 1,200 to 1,300 feet height. Brake is on. The lead is on. Let's go off. Engine shutdown. Yeah, schön Abend, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Never really found the Eurovision Eurovision Song Contest. No, Eurovision Song Contest. You know, interesting enough to watch. I'm just not into that. Not musical at all. Hang on, that should be here. Right. Good. Is that working or not? Yeah, GSX seems to be broken with the automatic stuff.
The boarding requested.
Oh, I know. Disregard. No, it's not GSX's fault. Hang on. It's not. It's actually my fault. I think I set that to not automatic right now. Yeah, that's my bad. Let's try that next time. Okay, cool. Anything else? Let's get that off. Let's make that true. Interesting is also
passengers departing starting.
Let's say you make this kind of mistake IRL, right? You know, descending or getting the descent point wrong and then, you know, descending too low. It does make you think, right? Because pilots do self-reflect and they do think, hey, how did I get into that? But sometimes, you know, mistakes happen, and you have to live and learn from them, right? And but it does, I think it does annoy you if you get it wrong like that. But those things can happen, and you just got to live and learn, right? And make sure next time it doesn't happen. Trying to think back at mistakes I've made, you know, and then I could explain some of them, like, you know, fatigue, being tired, but still I was annoyed. I remember that. I was really annoyed sometimes at myself having made these mistakes. But then again, I can say I didn't make the same mistake twice, right? At least that I did manage. And in the end, I can also say that I've never had to fill out any incident reports in the sense of, you know, that I made a bigger mistake in the sense, you know, that led to the damage. Apart from the orange juice, okay, I know the orange juice, but apart from that, yeah, you know, 30 years of flying without any bigger mess ups. Happy with that. Let's do the
Condor 62 Quebec, Steuerungsfortschritt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very good point, Fabian. Thank you so much, Svenja. I will report. Dankeschön, Svenja. Mach's gut. Schönen Sonntag. You're 100% correct. That is something very difficult. So let's pretend now we did this IRL, right? We got something really wrong. We didn't turn. We're saying, hey, we're way low. Let's go around. Okay. So we did the right action. We you know, we made a mistake. We ended up too low in the approach and say, hey, you know what? Just go around. All good. We go around. And set up again, and just like Fabian says, one of the really important things then is to say, you know what, we'll debrief when we're on the ground and we finish the parking checklist. Then we'll debrief. For now, let's put this aside. Apart from the fact that we now try to get the calculations correct, obviously, but the rest we're going to put aside, analyze that on the ground. For now, we concentrate on flying the approach again, right? We're not going to discuss too long about you know, what went wrong, etc. So we're not analyzing, we you know, and getting ourselves distracted again from the approach, right? So that's a very very good point as well, 100%. Cool. All right, parking checklist. Parking brake or trucks. Parking brake is on. We have the engines off. A few pumps off, and yeah, elect pump is also off. Right, what's it complaining about? Oh, the aft door. Okay. Outdoor. There. Let's try. Waiting for the aft cargo door to open. Okay. Interesting. Answers. Right, for the rest of the program for today, so I'm going to have about 10 minutes, 15-minute break to set up my new peripherals for the Dash 8 flight, and then I will be back with another flight. Looking forward to it. Right, big thank you to all the resubs coming in today, guys. Thank you so much. And my moderators, thank you so much. And next time, exclamation mark mod, right? If you need to get across a very important message. And I miss it on the chat here. See you next stream. Thank you so much. See you soon.